We are live. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this British Council Facebook Live session in collaboration with the Daily Star. My name is Steve Sharp, representing the British Council Teaching Centre in Bangladesh. Thank you for joining us for this fun, interactive and informative session. In this evening's session, we're going to be talking about how English language learning can help improve opportunities in the Bangladesh perspective. To help me talk about this, I'm joined by my two wonderful colleagues, Rosie Begum and Mohammed Ibrahim. Rosie, hello, how are you doing? Hi, Rosie, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm very well, thank you. It's good to see you. I haven't seen you for a long time, so thank you for joining me. And Ibrahim, how are you, Ibrahim?
Hi, Rosie and Steve. I'm fine, thank you. Hello to everyone watching.
Brilliant, yes. So as I said, we're going to be talking about how English language learning can help improve opportunities in the Bangladesh perspective. And this is a nice extension from the International Education Day that was celebrated on the 24th of January. So for this evening, we're going to be focusing on the products that we offer for different age groups at the British Council in Bangladesh. We'll talk about young learners, then we'll move on to primaries, secondary students and adults. And then we'll talk a little bit about the teacher training offer that we also provide. Throughout the session, we'll be answering any questions that the viewers might have. So please do feel free to write your comments or questions in the chat box, in the comment section, and we'll be happy to answer them as we go along. Okay. Brilliant. All right, let's get this show started then. So at the British Council, we teach English to Bangladeshis, and we have different products or different materials that we use for different age groups or different life stages. So we're going to start to talk about early years. When we talk about early years, we're talking about teaching English to children from the age of 5 to 6 years old. It's done in a very fun, interactive way. And Rosie, can you tell us a little bit about the content and the materials that we use for our early years classes?
Thank you, Steve. Thanks for asking. British Council actually teamed up with Aardman Animation to create a character called Timmy and learned about his life in a visually engaging way, where children learn and remember language through stories.
Exactly. I've had a lot of experience teaching early years with this product, Learn English, Learning Time with Timmy. And it's so much fun. It's so much fun. The children watch these episodes, they practice the language, there's lots of songs, lots of movement, story time, craft activities. I probably think it's more fun for the teacher than it is for the students.
Yes, of course.
In my experience.
Teachers also, yeah.
Yeah, it's great fun. And I believe you've had experience teaching it as well. Is that right, Rosie?
Yes, of course. It's really, really fun.
Yeah,
it's more engaging. Yeah, the stories are really fun.
Lots of energy, lots of fun activities to get the students engaged.
They never get bored watching those videos and characters and others. Yeah, they remember the names, everything.
Exactly. So, Rosie, what's the methodology behind our early years products? Like, how do we teach it, basically? And what do
For early years, actually, there are some foundation stages, if I tell you. Like it follows how we learn, first of all, our first language. I mean, children listen first, and then understand and build up to speaking, reading, and finally writing. Right. And then learning through play, they actually learn where children are engaged a lot and increase their social, emotional, and physical development, you can say.
Yeah, yeah.
And also they create happy memories of being exposed to English. They actually think about the part of their life which builds foundation for future English learning as well.
Yeah,
And for early years, you can say earlier children, they develop their own pace. They don't feel any pressure. Literally,
exactly,
there no pressure. Yeah,
exactly.
so
So
they love doing so.
exactly. So for early years, it's all about ensuring that children between the age of 5 and 6 feel comfortable in an English environment. We don't expect them to be able to speak fluently in English. You know, they don't have that vocabulary, and that's absolutely fine. But if they can understand and they can do actions and show that they've understood, then that's fantastic. And also, as you said, Rosie, it's all about learning through play, learning through stories, and that's really engaging for students of that age. And as I said, I love teaching early years. So much fun. Get down to their level. We do story
Yeah.
time with them. We watch different types of songs, and we do different actions, so they know, you know, what does it mean to jump? What does it mean to turn around, touch your shoulders, etc. And they love it. They absolutely love it.
They
Such a
automatically
fun,
engage themselves into it.
exactly, such a fun, engaging way to expose students to English and to make them feel comfortable. I think also with what's happened with COVID, it's really important that children of that age have the opportunity to interact with other students, other children of similar ages, and really helping to develop their emotional and collaboration skills in a fun and engaging way. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of the early years product. I'm going to show all of our viewers just a little snippet from our website, which gives information about learning time with Timmy. So hopefully everybody can see my screen. Rosie and Ibrahim, can you see that?
Yes, I can see that.
Yeah, okay. So this information is taken from the British Council Bangladesh website. And you can see it has a nice picture here of Timmy. Okay, you've got Mittens, the kitten, Yabba, the duck. I forget the name for the ostrich. I do apologize. So it gives some information here about what learning time with Timmy is, the methodology behind it. There's information about our class structure there. And then this part here gives some tips to parents, okay, about how they can further engage with their children at home. All right, so it gives a few ideas here. So singing songs together. Children obviously have electronic devices, so making sure that they are set in English, okay. Making sure that parents feel relaxed about their children speaking in English and making mistakes. It's a natural part of the language learning process. Okay, so there is lots of information here about learning time with Timmy and some tips for parents as well. Brilliant. I can see that we've got quite a few comments here, so thank you very much. Let's just have a look. Abayud Hanan, we've got a question here. What is the importance of accents in speaking English? Abu, we're going to talk about that when we talk about our adult section later on, and it will be relevant to the other sections as well. Arifur Rahman, thank you for your question again. What's the importance of accents in speaking English? I think we can answer that question now, actually, seeing as two people have already asked it. Personally, for me, accent isn't that important. A lot of our students think, oh, in order to be really good at speaking English, I need to have a British accent or an American accent or an Australian accent. When actually, it's all about intelligibility. It's about being clear so that whoever you are speaking to can understand what you're saying. Rosie, I can see you nodding your head. You're an IELTS speaking examiner, just as I am. And one of the criteria is intelligibility for pronunciation. Students can still get a high band score, even if they do have a slight accent. Rosie, what are your thoughts on this question?
It's actually mainly focus on pronunciation, not accent.
Mm-hmm.
That what we
Mm-hmm.
say. The criterias are there. You have to focus on pauses and the intonation, word stress. These are important, but it's not about accent. People
Mm-hmm.
might have different accent. That doesn't matter
Yeah,
as long as your pronunciation is correct.
exactly. Ibrahim, what are your thoughts on this question?
Well, I guess you guys have cleared it up quite a bit.
Okay.
I think sometimes people think about accent. It maybe in specific cases your accent
Mhm.
might be an issue if the job requires you to have a American accent. I can't think of such job, by the way,
No, exactly,
but other
exactly.
than that, if your audience can understand you, that's
Yeah,
your mark of speaking clearly. Yeah.
exactly.
I
Also,
would like to add one thing, if you
sure,
is it
sure.
okay? Like,
Yeah,
I think you don't need to bother worry much about accent. It comes automatically. If you keep on practicing, you will adapt that one. You can follow some accent if you were in love with that accent. It's
yes,
fine for that,
yes,
but you
yeah,
don't force yourself to adapt that one. It will come to you, and you will be able to do it.
yeah,
Don't worry about the
exactly.
accent. That is
I
what I'm going to
think,
say.
yeah, I think I'm just going to extend on that one as well, Rosie. If people do want to improve their overall pronunciation, or if they want to have a specific accent, they want to have an Australian or an American accent, then they need to make sure that they are exposing themselves to that accent. For example, through watching movies, listening to songs, listening to podcasts, and trying to mimic or copy the
Mm,
way that the people are speaking. Accents come from exposure. When people live in a country, a specific country, for an extended period of time, they pick up that accent because they're constantly surrounded by it, and they listen to it, they copy it, and they get the accent. So if people are worried about their accent, make sure that you're exposing yourself to different varieties of English or a specific variety of English, to make sure that you have that accent. Okay. Um,
yes, and Steve, something that I felt we have discussed before and probably should
mhm.
be mentioned here again
Yeah.
is it's better to try to ease into an accent that you like rather than force
Yeah.
yourself into it and sound
Yes.
unnatural.
Yeah.
That your audience will appreciate your natural accent more
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
if you just ease into it.
Exactly.
Thanks, Ibrahim, for saying that one. I want to add a little bit more with you. Like, it's like fake accent sounds like not
It
good. So
does.
you avoid that one, and you might lose your points because of that also. So be careful.
Yeah, yeah. And if you want your children to have a specific accent, then just make sure that they're watching movies at family time, watching movies, with an American accent, British accent, whatever accent you want. Okay, one accent isn't better than the other. As I said at the beginning, it's all about intelligibility, sounding clear so that the speakers can understand what you're saying. All right. So hopefully we've answered that question there. All right. So let's move on. So we've spoken about early years. Let's move on to primary students. So for us at the British Council, primary students are children from the age of 7 to 11 years old. And the materials that we use are an extension of learning time with Timmy. They still use video episodes to help motivate students to learn English. Ibrahim, can you tell us a little bit more about the content of our primary materials, please?
Happily. Thank you, Steve. So, British Council teamed up with Adman Animation to create materials based on video episodes of the very popular and famous Shaun the Sheep,
Mm-hmm.
where students will learn new language in context. So they will watch a video, an episode which will have a storyline that
Yeah,
will help students to engage with each other
yeah,
in a fun way. It's really students find it very interesting. They enjoy
I
it
do.
thoroughly.
Yeah,
Like you said
definitely.
before, teachers enjoy this as well.
Exactly. Just want to clarify something. We've been talking a lot about using video episodes, and I don't want to give the impression that our students sit in a class and watch a movie for an hour. That's not how we work. We watch a short episode of 5 minutes, okay? And what the teachers do is they extract the language from that episode to make sure that students can understand it, that they can predict what's going to happen. So we really use that 5 minute episode as a learning tool, as a resource, as a language resource, so to speak. And we expand on that and get students to create their own stories, think more about vocabulary, etc. So our classes are 3 hours long, but we don't
Mm,
allow the kids to watch a movie for 3 hours. That's not what we do. That's not the methodology that we use there.
no.
Okay,
And
which leads us on nicely to methodology. Like, how do we teach the classes exactly, Ibrahim?
right. Thanks, Steve. So, like you were saying, they don't watch an hour-long video, even if they have watched the show before. It's again and
Mm-hmm.
again we see that in class they always enjoy the way the activities are designed around the audio and video. So it enhances their learning. It's not the main content, of
Yes.
course,
Yes.
and any content and activity. That we present in class are designed to relate to the specific age of
Yes.
the
Mm-hmm.
student,
Yeah.
and they are pre-designed considering what they're able to do at that stage and
Yeah.
challenge them just
Mm-hmm.
to challenge them enough to make it interesting so that they can learn. And for example, the topics can range from natural world, sea, to outer space,
Yeah.
environment,
Yeah.
and so on. And these
Mm-hmm.
activities, they allow students to develop their critical thinking, problem-solving skills, creativity, imagination, collaboration and communication skills, and digital literacy.
Yeah.
And they prepare them for the next stage in their English language learning, which is secondary plus.
Yes, which we will talk about next. Okay. Now, going back to what you said about digital literacy skills, um, the online part of the materials that we use for our primary students is something called the Learning Hub, and students log into this. It's a website basically. They log in, and they get to complete online language activities to help them consolidate and practice the language that they've learned in the lesson, and also other activities to further develop their English skills. So again, it's providing them that practice that they need to feel comfortable with using technology in order to improve their language skills. So I'm going to show my screen again, lots of screen sharing today. And this website is called Learn English Kids. Can everybody see? Can you, Ibrahim, Rosie, can you
Yes,
see
we
my
can see.
website,
Yeah.
my screen? Sorry, yeah. So
Yes.
this is a free resource that's available to everyone. It's owned and created by the British Council, and it's designed for primary level students. Okay, you have different free online activities that you can do. So listen and watch here, watch songs, read short stories. There's read and write activities, speak and spell, grammar and vocabulary, fun and games, print and make. So lots of crafty activities that children can do at home with their parents, and also some information or some top tips for parents. Okay. This is a fantastic website. There's so many activities that children of primary school age can do. Very engaging, rich in language, and very motivating. As I said, there is a part of the website here which offers tips, top tips for parents on how they can use this website and ensure that their children feel comfortable learning English. Okay. Brilliant. We've got another question, just going back to the comments here. So, MD Tussar, what do you do when you've been trying for so long and you don't get your desired results and you feel frustrated? I can completely understand how you feel, MD Tussar. I studied languages at university myself, French and Spanish, and I remember practicing and practicing and practicing, and I just couldn't get to the level that I needed to. But I think with practice comes perfection. Like, practice makes perfect, and you just need to keep going and try to find something, try to find topics that interest you, because if you do that, then you'll be more motivated to learn and spend time reading books about genres that, on genres that interest you, watching movies with your favorite actor, listening to English songs by your favorite singer. That would really, really help to motivate you and make sure that you're consistent in your English language learning. Ibrahim, any further tips for Mohammed Tussar?
Yeah, I think it's sometimes students get frustrated. That's completely natural, but sometimes also they probably are too harsh on themselves.
Yes, yes,
It Failure is part of our life.
it
So if you
is.
failed, maybe there's a reason, and best to
Yes,
find out what you can do differently next time rather than worrying about what you have
yes.
already done.
But we learn making mistakes is part of the language learning process. If you can find out why you made the mistake and why you made the mistake and learn from it, then you'll be able to advance a lot more. Yeah, valid point there. Rosie, how about, I can see you want to say something? What have you got to say?
Because this is very common question
Hmm.
my every class, like students and candidates frequently ask me this: how do we, they are not satisfied, they want
Yeah.
more, they desire more. But thing is that, are you, when you say I have practiced a lot, my question is, have you? Right. The question is, have you followed the perfect way? It's not about testing yourself, doing some mock test and going through some other things and memorizing things. These are not the correct way to practice. The practice, as Steve said, enjoy learning. This is how you
Yeah,
practice. Engage
exactly.
yourself in daily
Exactly.
activities. Interact with your friends, colleagues, neighbors, family members, anyone, in using daily language. This is how you
Yeah,
practice. It's not that you follow some specific books or do something and solve problems, solve some problems and memorize grammar. These are not the way to practice them. So ask yourself, are you really practicing?
yeah.
That's my question.
Yeah, a very valid question, actually, straight to the point. I think there is a difference between practicing, grammar fill activities and practicing, speaking spontaneously with your classmates or with other people. That's where the real language learning happens. And as I said, having been a language learner myself and still a language learner, you need to find a consistent routine where you're exposing yourself on a regular basis to English in this context through reading newspapers, reading books, watching the news, and you need to do it on a daily basis so that it becomes a routine. And the more you expose yourself, the more you will learn, and the more confident you will feel in English, and hopefully the better your English will become. So I hope we've answered your question there, Mohammed Tussar. All right, let's get back to the session. So we've spoken about early years and primaries. Let's move on to talk about secondary students. When we talk about secondary students, we are talking about students between the ages of 12 and 17. For our secondary classes, they are split into two age groups, lower secondary, which is for 12 to 14-year-olds, and upper secondary, which is for 15 to 17-year-olds. What I love about our secondary product is the content. It's very, very relevant. I actually asked Ibrahim to talk about this before I take over. Ibrahim, can you tell us a little bit about the content that we use for our secondary classes, please?
Yes, of course. Just like you, I also like the content of the secondary plus because they are up-to-date issues, current
Yeah.
issues. And the tasks are real-life tasks that help engage and motivate this particular age group,
Yeah.
namely teenagers.
Yeah.
And the digital content, be it audio or video, they help students to consolidate their language skills. They are selected and prepared um, um, in that way. For example, I have personally found out that students love to talk about um, their hobbies and what
Mm-hmm.
technology they use
Yeah.
um, for their hobby and ask questions to they're doing survey, doing project. So the contents are designed which teenagers find naturally engaging.
Good. Yeah. What I really like, I mean, I mentioned earlier, I like the content, but what I really like is the methodology, which is how we teach these classes. And it's very project based. So, Rosie, can you tell us a little bit about how we teach our secondary classes, please?
As you said, it's mainly project-based learning. When you say
Mm-hmm.
project-based learning, it means they are engaged into that one. So the strategy is to help teenagers develop their collaboration and communication skills, as well as their overall English. I mean, when they are asked to do so, they work on online. They like struggle to find out new creative ideas and make project works, collaborate with their classmates and others. So the activities they do that allow students to build their confidence and develop their critical thinking and problem solving skills, and they use their imagination, creativity and digital literacy, and also all of the overall team working skills. It comes comes up with all together, and then they after that they can present a presentation, right? So project based learning is very helpful for them. It's very
Mm-hmm.
engaging, and it
Mm-hmm.
builds foundation. I mean, when they do it, I've seen students all like they're enjoying a lot from they wait for the last day of the presentation. They work very hard,
Yes.
and they come
Mm-hmm.
up with loads of ideas. Sometimes I do I do become like, wow,
Yeah.
surprisingly,
Mm-hmm.
I don't even expect that from
Yeah.
them. When they are coming out with critical ideas and creative ideas and
Yeah.
information, the way they present, I just say that, oh my goodness, I won't be able to think. It's beyond my reach, right? Surprise, I become surprised most of the time. And I just start like, oh my goodness, they are doing, they can do a lot. You
Yeah.
can't imagine how far they can go. Just you give them
Exactly.
something and they come up with loads of things, loads of satisfaction. And it
Yeah.
also builds their foundation for higher education as
It
well.
really, really does. I couldn't agree with you more on the wow factor, where, and
Yeah.
the last day of the lesson, they've been working on their projects during the classes, during the term, and some of the presentations that they come up with, the content and the reasons behind, or some of the actual physical projects that they create, whether it's like a model, town planning. I think one of the magazines that we use encourages teenagers to create their own podcast. Like, it's so
Yeah.
relevant, and there's no limit to their imagination, and they really just go with it. And the best thing about it is that they do everything in English. The language that they learn will help them to create the podcast, put together a presentation, create a town plan for an imaginary city, etc. And it just allows them to develop their team working skills, develop their creativity skills as well. And this is something that they're going to be doing when they go on to further education. They will have to collaborate with others. on different projects. So as you said, it's, great foundations for further education. I'm going to share my screen again, the screen share. And this one is to show our viewers another free resource from the British Council, but aimed at teenagers. Okay, so I think everybody can see my screen now. So this is Learn English Teens. Okay, very similar to Learn English Kids, but it's specifically aimed at teenagers. Okay, so as you can see, we've got different tabs here where they can practice different skills, the grammar, vocabulary, some tips on exams, English proficiency exams. There's some information here about the UK, study breaks. So we have some clips from different YouTubers, video content, graded reading and listening, and a magazine section here. So I'm just going to show one of the skills. Let's do listening. So each skill is divided by level. We have elementary, pre-intermediate, intermediate, upper intermediate, and advanced. Let's have a look at the upper intermediate. So for each level, there are different listening activities. Okay. So let's have a look at high achieving teenagers, right? So you have some instructions here. There's always a preparation task, and this is a vocabulary task which helps prepare the teenagers for the content that they're going to listen to. So for here, they have a set of words. They need to put them into the correct categories, okay? You then have the listening here, which you can listen to on the website, or you can download it by clicking on these here, and you can listen to it at a later date. If students are struggling, they can click here and they can read the transcript while they're listening if they want to. Okay. And then there are some check your understanding activities to make sure that they have understood the listening text. Okay. Right. So a free resource for teenagers to practice their listening skills. There are other skills that they can listen to as well. I've used some of these activities for homework when I've taught teenagers, and they always love it. Rosie, Ibrahim, I know that you both have as well. So if there are any parents out there who are watching now, encourage your teenagers to check out the Learn English Teens website there. Okay. So before we finish the young learners section, there's a couple of questions I'd like to discuss with you, Rosie and Ibrahim. So as we all know, in Bangladesh, all schools, colleges are now online due to COVID restrictions. And I get the impression that there are still some parents and students out there that are quite reluctant to learn English online. Rosie, should parents still be worried about their children learning English online or not?
Not at all. Not at all. From my past experience, I could say that.
Yeah.
I have seen parents being more relaxed, putting them in the online classroom, closing the door. They were relaxed, that they are actually engaged. If you have experienced them, if they have experienced that, they wouldn't ask you questions. But for the new parents, I could say that one, we do everything we do in face-to-face classes. They have pair works, they have breakout rooms where they can do group tasks. They prepare themselves, and they can actually go, and it's like website, they can look for websites, they can use the technology at their best, and also everything is there. And mostly when they're home, I found few students of mine picking materials from their home, sometimes colors, these and that, papers, which is always available to them. They come up with new ideas, come up with pictures of their parents or
Yeah.
younger brother and sisters to be more engaged with. And also I could say that one, everything is there, and they're learning. They have their friends, they can talk, they can collaborate with teachers, they can practice to improve their English skills as well, and they can actually collaborate with their classmates as well. They can actually interact them, and teachers, and learning hub is there. And in the
Yeah.
learning hub, they can actually submit their assignments, their homeworks, and other students can also see that one, and they get in, and they become like, they get the encouragement to do that with the others in competition, that
Exactly.
it's a
Exactly.
collaborative work, and they do it actually.
Yeah.
I have never seen anyone
Mm-hmm.
feeling bored or something like that.
Yeah.
They were always,
Yeah.
our classes are like structured in such a way that in every part of our classes, they are actually doing something new. They
Mm,
are we ask them to do something. It's not that they are doing one task and doing sitting lazily. They
mm-hmm.
don't even know that when they have actually finished the class, they said, oh, it's
Okay.
done. So
Yeah.
I have seen
Okay.
them once, so
All
they
right.
enjoy a lot. It's
Thanks for
more
that,
participation.
Rosie. Thanks. And what about you, Ibrahim? Any thoughts on teaching young learners online?
I think it's a brilliant platform for students to engage with other students staying at home because of some restrictions
Yeah.
from the safety of your home. And I think for parents, it's also a great opportunity. They can watch their children learn. Sometimes in a
Yes. They can
face-to-face class, you
see
can't
what's
really see
happening.
how your
Yes.
child is
Yes.
behaving.
Yes.
This can give
Yes.
you insight into your child's learning styles, their psychology, how they're coping with others. Are they willing to cooperate and do group activities? And also, I think we have mentioned this before. This also help them to improve their digital literacy skill.
Yeah.
And I think we all can sense, or a lot of us can sense, that eventually we are moving towards online learning. So I think it's great.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, people need to understand that online learning is here to stay. It's
It
not going
is.
anywhere. It really, really
Also,
isn't.
I think
Mhm.
sometimes parents might feel that it is might have some reservations about online learning because
Yeah.
you need to create an environment at home, a study
Yeah.
space, or a space, a learning space for
Yeah.
your child. It can be a very
Yeah.
small space. So take it as if you have created a bubble inside your home where your
Hmm.
child can interact
Yeah. Yeah.
with
Exactly.
others.
Exactly. Good. Thank you. Thank you both for that. Okay, let's have a look at some of the comments. So we've got a question about Celta. Um, yeah, I will answer that question in the Celta section, Delaware. Okay. Mr. Wonder, I like the name. Yes, people know English. It's more about other skills and experiences. To a certain extent, yes. A lot of people do know English, but not actually everybody does. But with English can come other skills, soft skills, for example. Okay. Mohammed Tussar, we've got another question here. Whenever I read, listen, or watch something, I face any unknown word and I can't continue. I go directly to a dictionary. That hampers my rhythm. What should you do in that situation? I think the more you practice, the and the more words you look up, the more exposure you have, the easier it will become. So I really wouldn't worry too much. I remember when I was learning French and Spanish, I would always like constantly look up new words, but then you're building your vocabulary. Okay. So it's going to be beneficial for you in the future. Okay. All right, let's quickly move on. So we spoke about young learners. Let's have a quick chat about adults. So for adults, we're talking about students aged 18 and above. We have two products. We have My Class and Ielts Coach. Ielts Coach is for exam preparation, for Ielts exam preparation. My Class is for is for practicing and developing your overall English skills. Okay, Ibrahim, can you talk to us a little bit about the content for IELTS Coach? What do students learn on this course?
Right. So, thanks, Dee. So, in IELTS Coach, students are taught about the exam format, different exam strategies and skills, then the language needed, how different tasks are going to be assessed, speaking
Yeah.
or writing,
Mm-hmm.
and what are the ways to improve your band score,
Yeah.
practice, IELTS practice, and also very importantly, sample answers for different sample responses for different tasks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think it's a complete package where a student can familiarize with themselves, not only with the exam format, but how to do the practice and how to track and monitor their progress.
Good. Okay. And Rosie, when we talk about my class, which is practicing students practicing their overall English skills, what is the content of those lessons exactly?
The contents are same, like almost like students develop their, like they learn English language, right? So if you ask me about the methodology, what do they learn and how do they learn, actually I would say that they develop communication skills through task-based learning. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, they learn, for example, we can say solving problems, making plans, expressions,
Mm-hmm.
opinions, and debating and negotiating. In the class, like we give them some ideas, as you said earlier, for the young learners. The pre-tasks are there, they learn the vocabulary given, and the topic is given. So based on that, they learn some strategies, learn some format, and then they actually at the end of the class they produce something using their own ideas, own language. This is
Yeah.
how they improve, and it helps students, like to improve students English competencies for higher education as well. And then also after that, it helps them career progress and opportunities for immigration
Exactly.
as
Yeah.
well.
One thing I like about the My Class product is the flexibility that students have. So they decide what to study, when, how many times a week. And the context of these lessons is related to how language is used on a daily basis, whether it's in a social context or in a workplace context. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of the My Class product, definitely. And as you said, Rosie, it's a chance for them to develop their English competencies, not only for higher education, but also for career progress and opportunities for immigration. Okay. Again, at the moment, we have face-to-face and online classes for adult students. So if you are interested, you can visit our website. And I'm just going to share my screen again, one last time, just to show our viewers information about Learn English. Okay, so very similar to Learn English Kids and Learn English Teens, this focuses on adults only. Okay, so here there are free resources where you can practice the different skills, grammar points, vocabulary, business English, general English, and IELTS. Okay, all of this information is completely free. And it will give you can learn about different grammar points, you can practice the skills, it tells you the answers. So as we've been saying, it's really important to get into a rhythm of exposing yourself to English and practicing it on a daily basis. Okay. All right. So we've spoken about young learners and adults. Let's go on to teacher training, okay? And for this part, for the next 5 minutes, you two get to ask me the questions, okay? So let's have a look. Rosie, we're going to be
I
talking
can
about
start.
Celta.
Yes.
Yes, so
Okay,
ask me some
Steve. Good.
questions.
Thanks for giving me this opportunity to ask you some questions. Okay, Steve, what is CELTA?
CELTA stands for Certificate of English Language Teaching to Adults. It's an initial teaching qualification, which allows people who complete the course to learn how to teach English as a foreign language to adults. So that's basically what CELTA is.
So, who is it aimed at, actually?
The CELTA course is aimed at people who have zero or a limited amount of English language teaching experience. In Bangladesh, we've noticed that a lot of university students who may have studied BA or MA in English language and literature, TESOL, linguistics, complete the course because they want to become ELT teachers. We also have people who are looking to change their career. So they may have been in finance or in the business world and they want to move into English language teaching. So it really is aimed at a wide variety of people. As I said, the course is aimed at people with zero or small amount or limited amount of English language teaching experience. So it really is an initial teacher training qualification. Okay. Ibrahim, any questions from
Yeah.
you?
Yes, I would like to ask a few.
Yeah.
So what will trainers gain from the SETA course?
So on the CELTA course, they learn about up-to-date teaching methodology. So teaching English through communicative language teaching. Okay. The course is run intensively over 5 weeks or part-time over 10 weeks. At the end of the course, students will receive an internationally recognized teaching qualification. It's recognized in countries all over the world, and it really is kind of like the gold standard for English language teaching. And it's what a lot of institutions such as the British Council, universities worldwide look for in English language teachers, kind of like a minimum requirement. The CELTA course can also open doors for you nationally and internationally. There are universities and schools, international schools in Bangladesh that require a CELTA certificate. But if people are looking to work abroad, and we have had several Bangladeshi graduates from our Cambridge CELTA course who have found employment abroad, the CELTA course is a minimum requirement. A lot of institutions will not even look at your CV if you don't have CELTA.
That sounds awesome in one word, Steve. Now, is the online delivery of the course different from the face-to-face one?
It's not, no. And this will answer Delaware's question. So when the pandemic hit, all of Cambridge CELTA courses around the world moved to online delivery. And actually, this has been great because students will get the information from about teaching face-to-face, but through practice of delivering online. So actually, it's an added bonus. The course content is exactly the same as the face-to-face course. The assessment procedures are exactly the same as the face-to-face course. The number of hours are exactly the same. The certificate that you get at the end is exactly the same. There is no difference between a face-to-face and an online CELTA. And actually, in my experience of being a CELTA tutor, there are a lot more benefits with with an online CELTA. Online teaching is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. So the fact that you can learn how to teach English face-to-face and online and still get the same qualification, I think it's a no-brainer, you know. And online CELTAs are here to stay. They're not going anywhere. There are courses, there are centres around the world that will deliver face-to-face, fully online, or a blended. So face-to-face and online. So to answer your question, Delaware, there is no difference. And if you do want to apply for the CELTA course, I would highly recommend you do. You can check out our website for the course dates, the prices, and more importantly, what the minimum requirements are in terms of education and language skills.
Okay, so the certificates are exactly the same
Exactly
for
the
both
same.
face-to-face, online, or even blended.
Exactly. The certificate doesn't say what the mode of delivery was.
It doesn't.
Okay. Yeah, there's no difference.
So, if I may, Steve, you have already discussed this, but just if you'd give us a little bit more on how can this course give opportunities for career growth as a teacher?
So as I said, the CELTA course is the CELTA qualification is kind of like the gold standard for English language
Mm.
teaching around the world. And for a lot of institutions, it's the minimum requirement. On the CELTA course, you will learn about up-to-date teaching methodology. How do you teach grammar and vocabulary through communicative language teaching? You will learn that the student is at the heart of teaching and their needs are paramount. During the course, it's very practical because you'll be teaching students and you'll be assessed by the CELTA tutor on a set of criterias on how you've delivered the lesson, how did you set up the activity, how did you teach the language, how did you correct the language, all of these key skills which are vital when it comes to teaching English communicatively for students. So it's a very practical, it's an intense practical course, but very rewarding. A lot in the past, not just in Bangladesh, but in other countries where I've worked, we tend to have people come onto the course who have been teaching for 5-10 years. And even though they've had that experience, they find the CELTA course so rewarding because they're learning how to teach with the students' needs at the heart of the lesson. A lot of people think it's all about the teacher, we lecture all this and that. When actually in English language teaching, students are at the heart of the class and we need to allow them time to develop, understand the language and practice the language in a relatable context. And that's what students will learn on the CELTA course. And that's why it's valued so much around the world internationally. So that's why it's the gold standard.
Thanks, T. I think I've got all my answers.
Good, brilliant. All right. Okay, I think we have come to the end of our session. We've gone on for long enough, I think. So let's just do a quick review. We spoke about our early years, primary products, secondary products, and adults, and also a little bit about teacher training. And through the session, we've also answered some of your questions about how to improve your English, the importance of, or the not so important about accents and how you can improve your pronunciation, as well as some study tips. We've also talked about the advantages of online learning and the fact that it's here to stay, it's not going anywhere. It's really, it's time for parents and students to start to embrace this and understand that it is here to stay, but there are advantages for it, okay? Rosie, any final comments before we finish?
I would say that, as you said, it's not going anywhere, and online classes, online learning is very, very important for everyone, not even young learners, for adults, for Ielts, for English skills. Everyone needs this. So it's very important, and you have to value it as early as possible. The technology is the thing we have to adapt as soon as possible.
Definitely.
Otherwise we'll lag behind.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it's a
Okay.
very good opportunity that we have to focus on that as much as possible, and it's
Definitely.
really, really helping us a lot.
Yeah. Ibrahim, any final thoughts?
Right, just that our viewers, I hope that will have found this useful, and probably it will inspire them to take up learning English as a goal for the new year, because it will give them opportunities that might be life changing in the
Yeah,
future.
definitely. I can see we've got a question here from Mohammed Saikot Ahmed. He asks, how can we improve English anywhere in Bangladesh? Any thoughts, Ibrahim? I'll throw that question to you.
All right. Could you repeat the question? I didn't
Sure.
quite get that.
Yes. So Ahmed wants to know how can viewers improve their English anywhere in Bangladesh? Any
Oh,
thoughts?
right. Thanks for the question. We have shown quite a few free resources to you throughout this session. They are mighty useful. And we have also discussed you can practice which definitely is going to add to your learning, and how to practice, and the best way to improve your learning. Of course, you can inquire about our courses. You can join our courses depending on your age group and ability, and definitely you can learn from anywhere.
Yep, good. Thank you. Rosie, any extra
Yeah, in
tips?
thank you. In addition to Ibrahim's one, like please, when you incur our courses, it's not that we teach, like you need to, as I said earlier, that you need to know the right way to practice. So the way we give the tips and the strategy you learn from our classes, you can apply those outside the classroom in your real life situation, and that you learn from the class. We have aims for every particular classes, and at the
Yeah,
beginning of the class we tell you that these are our aims, and at the end of the day you will be able to do this one.
yeah,
So you can pick that up and you can practice them outside the classroom in your in your daily activities, in your life
yeah.
real life situation,
Mm-hmm.
and
Good.
that helps you a lot. And doesn't matter where you are, online classes you can attend from anywhere around the country, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah,
just pick those things, take that opportunity, learn how to practice, and keep practicing. Good luck.
definitely. Yeah. One last question, and this is something that a lot of parents have asked me, not just in Bangladesh but in different countries. What's the ideal age to start for children to start learning English? Rosie, I'll throw that one to you first.
I don't see there's any age limit. Like no age limit is there. So I think anytime they can start. Like if you see Sean and Timmy, I have seen the kids. They're coming and enjoying 3 year old, and then others like they just it's like videos, like watching videos, learning, adapting. These are like have fun. They're having
Yeah.
fun. So there's no age limit. I would say anytime they pick it, they can pick it.
Good.
They shouldn't be
Okay.
forced.
Good. Good. All
No
right.
pressure on them.
And very quickly, Ibrahim, we've got 1 minute left. What's the ideal age?
I think as soon as children start to speak in their mother language, they can be exposed to English as well, side by
Definitely.
side. I
Yeah.
think that's a very
Yeah.
good
I couldn't
idea.
agree more. Brilliant. All right. Thank you very much, Rosie and Ibrahim, for joining me in this fun, informative, and engaging session. Thank you very much to all of our viewers. I hope that you've learned some information about our courses and also some tips on how to improve your English and the resources that we've shown you. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you all soon. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.
Thank
Bye,
you. Take care.
everyone.
Bye,
Take care.
everyone.